Hello, all you cosmic travelers and wanderers. This is Darlene Grift and K. Melissa Waterman, inviting you to join us today in our episode of Expansion from Within, Exploring Multidimensionality.
Let me introduce you to my friend and dear colleague, Darlene Grift. She is a lifetime experiencer, a medical intuitive, and a multidimensional mediator for over 35 years. She's also an author, an artist, a teacher, and a mentor for spiritually invested people.
And K. Melissa Waterman is my friend and colleague, and she's an intuitive mentor, a spiritual teacher. She also works with energy on many levels. In the past, Melissa has worked with Dr. Joe Dispenza on his research team.
Join us on our journey of meeting multidimensional beings, exploring what it means to be human, and expanding our spiritual evolution. Welcome, everybody. This is our last episode of season 1.
Yes.
And that we're going to pick up season 2 in February. So stay tuned and we'll tell you exactly when.
Yes. We'll send out an email blast for that.
Today we're going to talk to the essence of Earth, to Mother Earth. I'm pretty excited about this.
She stepped forward, one, because this is our last session of season 1. She wanted her voice to be heard of where she is and where humans are at this point.
Yeah, I'm very excited. My first question for Mother Earth is this the actual essence of the third dimensional Earth?
So when she first appeared for me as part of the Council 12, she would come in as a hologram, and she would be suspended over the white lit table that was in the council room at that particular time. This is 25 years ago, maybe more. Each time she came in, it was pretty dramatic, the response in the room, because the council was in very much a respect of who she was and what she had to say. She's more of a collective who speaks for her. The soul level, or what we would consider the entity of Mother Earth, is more, at this point, more of a collective energy. It's more of the essence of what she carries and how they are working with her, or how they speak for her as a group. Multidimensional beings, if you take a look at all the life force that is on the planet at this point, or has always been, there's a representative of that as part of, and humanity's one piece of that, but there's a representative of the trees and the rocks and whatever has made her and has brought her to more of the life that she has right now in the process of housing all these beings. So it's a conglomeration of all of that speaking as one voice for her.
Do you think that each planet has a collective voice like this?
Yes. Whether it's collective or it's singular, I believe, from what I understand in her early development, before there was so much on the planet, it was more of her voice. As she brought more in, as more evolution happened on the planet, as more species evolved or came as, defectors and those that came on the planet from other places, the more that happened on here, the more she wanted to give them voice. They align with her. We talk about that figure 8 all the time. So that figure 8 blends with her to really understand the essence of who she is and where she's coming from, so that they can speak harmoniously about that.
I want to talk about the council a little bit and her place in the council. I hear that she was a visitor for the council. But first, I want to say the Galactic Federation is really like the big council, and our council of 28 is more like a committee, for lack of a better term, right?
Yes.
And so, is she in both? Is she in the council of 28? Is she a member? How does that work?
She's a member as this representation. when you look at the council, their history, their timelines, their purpose, their mission is really about of Earth, right? It's on Earth. It's about the humans that live here, not about the humans that live anywhere else. So her being a significant piece of the council from early on, there was an invitation for her to join that. She is involved in the Galactic Federation, okay? So if you extract the council from the Galactic Federation, it's because there's a certain purpose that they serve. It's what they bring in. It's their understanding of what humans need with their timelines and clearing karma and all of that, that would bring them to a much more whole space of who they are. The council is focused on that. So they are a very small piece, nucleus of the Galactic Federation. So she kind of moves around the Galactic Federation in these different kind of councils or committees of where she is most needed. Sometimes it's within a council or within another part of the Federation because she's a guest speaker in understanding what's going on with Earth, so that whatever they're dealing with, whatever that particular committee or council or whatever is dealing with, that they can understand the dynamics that they might be working with or heading towards or just coming out of. So she's like a lead speaker, along with other planets, by the way. She's not the only one.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'd like to ask some questions about her relationship with the beings that are on the planet. And I'm specifically thinking about multidimensional beings that are considered human.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I'm most familiar with is the she, and that's spelled S-I-D-H-E. Lots of books, in case people are interested, by a group, the Lorien Association, or David Spangler has written quite a bit about the she, in case anyone else wants to know about that. So I'm interested in what her relationship is with the she, with other humans that are in another form, that aren't in this form, that aren't in the form of Homo sapien.
So her relationship, she sees herself as a welcoming mat for the multidimensionals, for those that align with her. She's being more discriminatory of who comes into her energy more than she has been, because of the devastation that humans, mostly humans, have perpetuated on her, which was, she feels in some ways was not her choice, but in the allowance of more that occurred for her. So the other beings that are more aligned with her, that are here to assist her children, that it's not just humans, that are to assist, the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom or the ocean kingdom, whatever that is here, that she welcomes them in. So her relationship is very compatible with those multidimensionals that may be human but do not exist in a human form and have chose to come back here in some way. There is an agreement, like this isn't a place to just come and observe. When you come here, whether you're a multidimensional, energetic being, light being, or whatever, you're here to assist, you're here to work, you're here to participate at some level. It's not about observance for her. She's had enough of observance and then decisions that were not so discerning that concerned her and she wasn't included in. So she's not so keen on having people or beings in any shape or form come in and not participate at a level that's aligned with her. She's more boundary conscious.
I think what I'm asking is more, are the she more aligned with her than most, I want to say human, but Homo sapiens, right?
They are one of many that are more aligned with her. And the reason why is they have more of a consciousness of life. They have more of a spiritual resonance. They have been around longer. They have a deeper understanding. So she relates more to them than where many of humanity is, that is in 3D at this point.
would it be useful for us to know more about them? And can she direct us? Would it be useful for us so that we could learn from them to be in more unison with her?
They are an avenue for some people that resonate with them, just like there's an avenue for other beings. You know, if you resonate with the Pleiades or the Arcturians, or, you know, the list goes on and on. She would suggest that it is about relating to them, asking for them, going within the field or in your meditative state. She's saying the significant thing with them is that there needs to be a clear avenue. A place of curiosity may not be that you're aligned with them where you can have contact. They're very, she wouldn't use the word protective. She would say they're insulated.
Mhm.
They're very insulated from what comes in and what they connect or who they connect with, not as a protective, but as a focus. Like they want to keep their focus.
Right.
So her suggestion would be is if you feel like you resonate with them, to find them, ask for them in meditation, see if you can connect with them through words of others that may bring them in, right? Others that may channel them or bring them in, to see how you relate to them. But then move into your own space of saying, I'd like to connect with you, or who are you, or how can I understand you better, and see if they show up. It's more about, do they show up because you are in their field in some way, because you energetically match them, or they don't show up because, not because they dismiss you, but just because they will not take away their focus to deal with a part that is not part of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I'm glad to know. I think that's my experience. I mean, even with the she, I've known about them for quite a long time, and I've often asked to have a visitation. As with many multidimensionals, I've asked for visitation, and some I get and some I don't. But the she and I haven't made that kind of contact. I'm heartened by their presence,
Yes.
knowing that there are other humans that are not Homo sapien. These are multidimensional humans. They're on the planet creating what they're creating in without form is heartening to me. It's like broadening of my perspective. And anytime I can step out as the human with the single focus of I'm the most important thing on the planet, the better. I think that's, really,
Yes.
that's been a dangerous position that humans have had for a very long time, that we're
Right.
the only one and there's no other life out there because it doesn't look like us,
Right.
or doesn't have air like us or water like us, when it's a pretty narrow view.
That is one way of connection, by the way. You just, whether you visually are embraced in their energy field, you honoring the fact that they exist and appreciating what they do, no matter if it's the she or any other multidimensional place, it's still a form of connection.
Well, and I guess when I first learned about the she, it was kind of mind blowing to know they were human. Like, oh, I'm the only my form is the only human form, right? Oh no, there are multidimensional humans. There are right here that I can't see, that might be right here next to me, that I'm not in the alignment with the frequency to be able to identify them. Like, wow, that's a mind blower. And I liked it. I like when my mind gets blown. I've read about Findhorn, and I've read about Michelle Smallwright and the plant divas and the tree divas. I know they're in relationship with Mother Earth, and I'm wondering if they're hurting, if they're in support of her, or do they also need support? How is that relationship with the plant divas, and how's that going?
Mother Earth is redefining herself. Just like all of us are. I believe we're all in that evolutionary place of it's time to reset and redefine and figure out who we are and where we're going and why. Like, what do we really want? Where's our intentions going? Her connection, her family, there's order on Earth, just like there's cosmic order, there's order on Earth. In the beings, in the structure or the order of plant beings or animal beings or rock beings, the crystal beings. Early on, their relationship was more of like a child needing nurturing. It's that place of acceptance and allowance and nurturing and fostering a relationship between this planet and who they are in coming into the physical form. Where they are right now is they're needing to stand up, just like humans are needing to stand up for protecting Mother Earth. So she's not at the disadvantage of saying she's in a state of total collapse that will not be recovered, but she is definitely and has been 50, 70 years of realizing that there is more damage than what she is capable of recuperating with as many humans that are damaging her. The other beings, the other groups, the other families that live on this planet are now being asked to and have been to stand up in some way to unite in supporting whatever they can do to support that. It's not you give to me because I'm a child. It's now I'm in the adult form. I've been here long enough. I know you well enough. I know how you nurture and support us. So I am willing to stand up to do my part in whatever that is. And I believe that what we saw in that, what we call the reset in COVID for those 3, 4, 5, 6 months of where there was less happening on the planet, where humans were in terror and being confined, things changed for her pretty quickly.
Right.
The oceans got better. Where the water cleared up in the channels of, I can't remember the name of that city.
I don't remember either, but I know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
in France.
Somewhere in Europe, it had been very polluted and it
Yes.
became clear.
Yes.
Right.
I think it was in Asia. They could never see the Himalayas.
Good.
Within a few months, the clouds lifted, the fog lifted. We know that she's capable, and that was really important for her to know that she was capable.
Uh-huh.
Like when the population ceases to do what they are doing, it happens pretty quickly. Nature can happen and take over what the damage that we've put on Mother Earth. So her relationship now with them is more of a compatible, not a mother-child, but more of a supportive, we're in it together, let's make a statement.
Right. I just had an image of the divas being like mycelium, the network that is unseen. The mycelium are in form, but they are unseen. I guess that's a kind of another dimension, isn't it? But it's a network that's supporting the structure of the dirt and the passing of nutrients along miles and miles and miles underneath. That the divas are doing that just above the surface. That the divas are also like a network of support that's running.
Yes. Yeah, they're the messengers, and they go from various places, locations above and below. What she's showing me, Mother Earth, is that, we feel a lot of grief as humans when there's a forest fire. And she says, in this compatibility of what she works with the tree beings, with the beings in the forest of that time, that when they know, because they start to sense in some way through that network of that there's a fire, a potential fire, they spiritually vacate. They die, or they leave, or they vacate, whatever the word is that you want to use, the area in knowing. So it's not as traumatic for them as we may think in them knowing that something's happening, because they do. Like that network is global. Doesn't matter if it's different continents. If you have trees in this, they relate to their trees that's in Europe. Even if we can't visibly see their network or understand how does that roots cross 2,000 miles of ocean, or whatever, they are psychically in tune. They resonate with each other. So there's a communication between these families that we may never understand because we don't use it.
Right.
We're always in the conflict or the division or the I'm right, you're wrong. Whereas families of trees and bushes and plants and rocks and animals all have a way of communicating globally.
It's spectacular. Yeah, I'm so glad. I guess I'm wondering how Mother Nature's feeling about Homo sapiens.
She's annoyed at less and angry at their potential to destroy, that their lack of consideration, that their unawareness of what she has provided for them, that their realization that they have fostered a demise for humanity in ways that she has a hard time bearing. And she's bearing the brunt of it because survival on this planet depends on her. It's her weather systems, it's her oceans, it's the way that the ecosystem works. It's everything that she has been given and worked so hard for since the beginning of her existence to create. And yet we were invited in to be caretakers of her, and look what we've done. Where is our compassion? Where is our hearts? And she doesn't see it as, like, she doesn't condemn the full humanity. She sees that as unaware humans. She sees that as humans that are more self-serving or that believe that there is no life after this. So why can't I just take everything that I want and leave whatever's here because I'm not coming back? So she doesn't see that as everyone, but those that have perpetuated the destruction through not being conscious feels like it far outweighs, not in population, but far outweighs their intention for those that want to do good or hold the planet in a way that is respectful. Like, all she's asking is for respect.
Right. Right.
Respect your choices, respect your actions.
Yeah, it seems like we've been just taking, and that the giving back may come from a few, but not from the majority. The majority are just taking.
Yes.
And in my mind, that's completely connected to some biblical things about having dominion over, in Genesis, it says we have dominion over the animals, dominion over the land. That particular passage has probably been, I want to say, misunderstood. That I don't think dominion was ever meant to mean that we didn't need to care for it or that we could treat it so disrespectfully.
Right. Yeah,
Dominion
dominion is not a thought. It's a sense of authority, but there's caretaking involved with that. That is not destruction and just keep overfishing and overdoing that. She's showing me this area, I believe it's in California, where they are so much extracting not oil. What'd she say? They're extracting fluid for our fuel. So what would that be? Natural gas? Extracting something there that it's collapsing. It's collapsing a whole area of land there that has dropped. She's showing me, like, it looks like, how they're showing you on TV, they show you the, what is it, Lake Powell and all those big lakes that are supplying water and how they've dropped like 100 feet or so in the last decade or more. She's showing me that by them extracting whatever they're extracting out there, that it's lower, like things are sinking, like they're creating sinkholes that people live on.
Right.
So when her question is, when are they going to get it? when are humans going to really, as a unification on this planet, get that they can try to protect their financial fields, they can try to protect, their governments and all of that. But the fact is, none of that will exist if they don't take care of what's they're walking on.
Right. It seems so obvious. And yet what would look to me like the drive for more money and the moment to have the money right now and not really make a preparation, that at least in America, I don't know if other countries are better at it, but we don't plan for the future well.
Right.
We don't make a real systemic change. Think back in Roosevelt's time. I don't mean to take this into a political place, but he made all the parks and said we must preserve this. I don't know enough about it, but it doesn't seem like we're doing that. It doesn't seem like we're really looking ahead and saying, well, we need to take a little less right this minute.
That might be happening on some level, because I think there is at least an attempt to balance out what has been taken away and robbed from the earth to bring something back that is more positive, more nurturing for her. Whether that scale is in balance, it doesn't feel like it is at this point. Yeah, there's more that needs to be done with that, with looking at our future and future generations. And she's not discounting the fact that there's many millions of humans that want to participate, see the issue, are respecting her in ways that they can respect her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's holding on to just trying to keep herself stable and at the same time express herself. Like
Right.
The weather patterns that are changing, the climates that are changing, the more earthquakes, they're happening because of what humans have done. And she's responding to that in the weather patterns. She's responding to that to say, how much more do I have to show you that you need to stop, whatever that is? And it doesn't feel like it's just global warming. There's so much more that's involved in how we are harming her oceans and everything else, that when will we look at that in a much bigger way than a company here and a company there and a few people that want to make change? Like, when will we as a society, as a global humanity, take a look at that and say, what, are we blowing up her? Are we just letting her die?
Is that connected to personal responsibility for whatever it is we're doing? It seems like a good starting place, like an individual personal responsibility to be able to look at not only what I do to the planet, but what I do, period.
Yes.
Like, to take responsibility. Yesterday, I was driving around in a car and I was pretty mad at some of the drivers I came in contact with. And I took personal responsibility for my attitude. In the middle of being like, I thought, oh no, I'm not putting that out on the planet.
Yeah.
I love you. And I just sent them love. I just said, no, I'm not joining the bandwagon of hate at the moment. But it takes some, I'm old and I've been working at it for quite a couple of decades to get to the place where I can actually recognize the emotion I'm having and then say, oh no, I don't want any part of that.
Yes.
And shift it. But it feels like that's the level at what's needed to become responsible. Like, and I guess I think it has to do with personal responsibility.
It is. It's personal accountability, the responsibility. It's like that has to move through you to the consciousness. If that isn't there, personally, I've had experience of where you think something like, oh yeah, okay, I could do that or I couldn't do that, but it's not conscious. It's kind of like, it's just kind of floating around in your energy field and then you forget about it or whatever. But when you grab onto it and you go, oh my goodness, I need to do this because whatever that because is, I need to do that, whether it's taking care of Mother Earth or it's signing up for something or you need to get your license or whatever that is. When it finally comes up to the consciousness, then that's when the action happens. But when it floats down here, it's like not your responsibility. It's not your accountability yet.
Right. That's right. And that's damaging. That's highly damaging.
Yeah, because you'll make decisions from immaturity, unawareness, Not that you're not capable. You
Right.
just make decisions from another place.
From convenience rather
Convenience, speed,
than
right?
right, rather than responsibility.
Yeah.
Convenience. Yeah, convenience seems like the word that comes to my mind. It's very frustrating to me. One of the other questions I have is about how, as energy workers, we've for decades and decades and maybe centuries, but I know I was taught to kind of clear myself and clear any negativity going on by sending it to Earth to be transformed. I've for quite some time thought that was not such a hot idea, and that I've taken to probably in the last 7 or so, 10 maybe years, taken to sending it to the sun to be transformed. Is there anything she can validate or discount about that idea?
Well, the groundedness is what she's always offered. She is ground. She has her cycle. She has the way that she relates to electromagnetic fields. She is very capable of that. What she's saying is, as we expand and we become more knowledgeable of we are not the only being, and this is not the only planet, that places like the sun, if that is where you resonate with, or she's pulling out Jupiter for some reason, in their hugeness, like to take into consideration that this particular solar system is a unification that have all come together because they like to participate in our growth, right? In our evolution. So they come here to be utilized. It's not like, oh, isn't that interesting? It's Saturn or that's Jupiter. How can we utilize them for what they represent in our asking for assistance? Forget the groundedness in the connections that we need to help us in our lifetime. Is there other planets that you would draw on? That's part of astrology. Don't become so, oh, Earth is the only. It is not the only. She is willing to, because that is part of her mission and purpose, is to ground humans, because she is so grounded and because we are living with our feet on the ground.
Yeah.
To take into consideration that there are other planets within the solar system that can do just as well, or that you are so resonant with them, they may do better.
Right.
And the sun is one of those. She sees the sun is the primary place of creation,
Right.
more so than she. The sun is a primary place, and it has light attached to it. It can recycle faster. So if you want to ground in the sun and see the light that can be seen in your own self through grounding through the sun, or in this certain event or situation that you're asking help for, then, she's more than willing to share. This is not about her taking on the responsibility totally for everything.
I want to be super clear. Like I am not talking about grounding. I'm talking about excess negative energy and sending it to be transformed into positive energy.
Okay.
Like I ground regularly into the earth because that's where, I don't know where else I would ground to. That's like, it would be puzzling to ground to Jupiter. That wouldn't necessarily fit grounding, right? To go all the way to Jupiter to get it. But so I just want to be clear about my question. I'm really speaking about the excess energy. We talked a number of episodes ago about empaths being like sponges and having to clear themselves or squeeze themselves out so that they're doing a service on the planet. And so I'm just saying, like, when that gets squoze out, squoze is a word
That's a
now.
good word, squoze.
Would it be more beneficial to send it to the sun or to Jupiter or to Mars than
Yes.
to send to her to be transformed?
Yes, it is more advantageous for where she is right now. Her consideration and her responsibility, accountability is for the grounding piece, but the
Right.
negativity for where she is right now, not that she is full, like she's not claiming that she's at a full capacity of negativity and she can't handle one more drop. But there is a shared responsibility within the solar system and within other beings that are on this planet. Like she's saying, rocks, crystals, They are all places that will transform negative energy.
Right.
Sitting on a rock and allowing that to just dump whatever you want to let go of through the base chakra. She's saying, like, that is such a relief because it's not her that has to do that. It's not through your intention that she feels responsible for in doing that. So when you find other avenues of beings as in those beings that are on the planet, like the rock and the crystals, or even water, when you are allowing that to help you to alleviate your negative stress or anything that you're putting in there, it takes the burden off of her. It helps her to get a little bit of respite, but it also facilitates the others coming in and assisting and sharing.
Right. Great.
And they're capable.
Yeah.
And they're willing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I think that's spectacular. So good. That's a more clear answer for me. Thank you. Is it useful for us to be very directly sending her love and energy in whatever form we desire? Is it helping at all?
She feels like a forgotten child. The amount of what she would consider on this planet at this time, with the amount of people that are conscious enough, is that it's incremental in what she feels like she receives with the love and the attention and the understanding of who she is and what she has provided.
Yeah.
So it's incremental. It's a drop in the bucket for her. Anything coming more from us, at least it feels like it shores her up. Like that's what shores her up. That's what gives her the knowing that there is a consciousness that's emerging from humans to rectify what they've done. So when she receives their love, she's open, if you can picture open-armed, to just embrace that and expand on it even. But having more of that, just like humans need to be listened to, and having more love and compassion and all of that, she's in the same boat.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's pretty clear she's having quite a time and making herself much more heard. Right.
Yes,
I mean,
she is.
I think more people are paying attention, if not necessarily purely out of love, but some with quite a lot of fear, like, oh, how can you shake a stick at this many fires or this many floods or this many earthquakes? Like, you can't really deny, when you look at the pictures all over Facebook of 20 years, what the ice cap looked like in Antarctica and now what it looked, you see the difference. I think people are alarmed by these things, even when they want to hold on to this idea that global warming, or that we aren't really harming, our presence isn't really harming the planet. It's hard, right, to shake a stick at that.
People can look at it, but when you're looking at the ice and you don't live in Alaska or Antarctica or whatever, you go, oh my God, that really hurts, right? But where is the action on that?
Right.
Where do you take that personal accountability, responsibility for putting a piece of plastic in the ocean? Because that creates that in some way. Or overuse of gas, or buying big cars not because you need them, but because it looks well. It looks good. It looks like you're successful. It's those conscious thoughts that go from, oh, what do I do about that? That hurts my heart, to what can I do about that? It feels like I participate at the level that I can.
Right.
And that's what I think what she's looking for.
And maybe for us to stretch ourselves a little bit more to, well, this is what I do comfortably. Like, I recycle like a crazy person very comfortably, but maybe I could take one less trip to the grocery store,
Yeah.
Or go with my daughter in her car rather than us taking two different trips. Like,
Right.
just little, but is a little more uncomfortable because it's not quite as convenient. It's not quite as fast. Oh, I need an egg right now. Maybe I can wait a day for the egg and get a whole dozen with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, silly with my example, but
We're somewhat spoiled in having
Right.
everything, and I was explaining to someone yesterday, it's like this shift that's happening, this paradigm shift that's happening, that's going to take a while to happen. We become very comfortable in how it was and how we're used to in our economy and our safety and all of that. And that's been shifting for quite a few years now of the turmoil or the chaos that's being created with that as this new possibility of a paradigm shift comes. But we are not going with the flow of that. We're kind of, we want what we want. It worked, right? At least in our head, and we were comfortable. It was convenient, right? We're getting pulled into how do we let go of that to go with the flow in some way so that we accept a paradigm shift. The unknown is terrorizing for humans. I don't have control. I don't know. What's it going to be? Are we going to have, worry, anxiety, fear level is through the roof now. But if you can say you are creative enough to create what needs to happen, that when you start to take care of Mother Earth, when you start to be compassionate and understanding and loving, not only to her, but to yourself and to your neighbors and to your family, and stop creating this division, then the paradigm shift happens more easily. Right? We can let go of this, even if we don't know what this is, because we can create it. We participate at a level at creating it. If we are all creators, what are we doing? Where are we creative in our life in moving humanity forward? Because that's what she's looking for. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm having strokes and heart attacks here. And where are you? Where's my family? Why don't you see this?
I hear it. And I hope everyone else can hear it very clearly, because it seems like this is a cutting edge moment for us to stretch ourselves and do just a little bit more than is convenient. And
yes, first being introduced to her, each of the 12 council members 20 some years ago, each created a statement or what they would speak about, a subject matter that they would speak about. And she presented herself as nurturing, like she wanted to talk about nurture. And so this was written 20 years from her. And it says, act as if there is no tomorrow, for there may not be. Act as if the air, water, ground that provides for you will never be replaced, for it cannot be. Act as if you were the sole proprietor of this home, for you are. Act as if you care. You have love in your hearts for your brothers and sisters and family, and of this planet. This is all you do have. She spoke more at that time of rocking the world. Like she was fed up. She was going to rock the world. I believe in the last 10, 15 years she has. It's not going to stop. It's her survival that she's fighting for.
It's clear it's happening more every year. There's no two ways about it. Well, I want to thank her. Thank you. I think we've had an amazing season 1. This is our 20th episode. I feel proud. I hope you do.
Yeah, I feel accomplished in this. And I know that season 2, and I just want to bring this up. So the multidimensional chronicles, there's going to be 4 parts. There might be more. We're trying to figure out the split on that. This is the books. Yeah. The first one hopefully will be coming out in early spring. We will start season 2 with talking about the book and then introducing the 28, just like we're doing here, so that there's a deeper understanding of the beings that are working in that council as they are in their own evolution, because that's what they're shifting now, as they're going into their own evolution since the books were finished. Because now they can let go of those timelines and explanation of why it was so important for humanity to know it. And now they're moving into more of a collective one voice. Season 2 in some way will be more about the council and introductions and what's going on, and questions hopefully from people would be wonderful.
Yes. And please share these podcasts with your friends. It would be nice to have an awful lot more people understand and hear what all of these multidimensionals want us to know. They're in our service and we can be in theirs. There's co-creation to have, and we need more than, 30 people listening.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'll see you guys in February.
Yes. Yes. Have a good, relaxing, hopefully expansive, relaxing time in the next couple months, and we'll get back into this.
Expansive, relaxing time. They seem oxymoron to me, but hey.
Who knows?
Go-
That's right.
try
Let's go for it. All right. Take
All
care.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.